My problem with Buddhism was that although so much of what Buddha said made a lot of sense,
Okay.
at the end of the day, Buddha was a human being. And he'd admitted this himself, right? He's just coming up with the best guess that he could, contemplating and thinking and whatever. It came from his own understanding,
Okay.
right? And so he came up with this, the eightfold enlightened path based upon certain principles that he came up with, things that he understood. And he claimed it, in a sense, it's almost like he was saying it's fitra. He says that anyone will understand this, right? But at the end of the day, I was trying to understand, what is the purpose of life? Why are we here? What's it all for? What's the reason for our existence? And although Buddha comes up with some answers, my real problem at the end of the day was still, well, how do you know? How do you really know, right? How can you be sure?
Okay, I've seen that video once before. I was just reminding myself. It's a valid question. How does a human being really know the truth? So when we say, how does a human being know such and such, or how does a God know such and such? The such and such is the focus here, not the knowing. This is what he's really asking. All of this information, how do we know that that is the be-all and end-all of information? Because at the end of the day, if you approach Buddha with a box and you say, what's in the box? The Buddha won't know. You haven't opened the box. He can't see inside. He doesn't have the lens to penetrate the box and see the information within. Okay? So we say, well, if the Buddha can't see what's in a box, how can he be so sure of himself that he sees the truth of all existence? But the assumption here, the problem with the question is the assumption that the answer to existence lies in the data and not in the lens. See, in Buddhism, when we look to become more knowing, more knowledgeable, to have spiritual awakenings, does not mean more information is downloaded into your head, though that can be a consequence, right? But what we really mean is the camera is removing the filters. It's putting on a clear lens. You're no longer seeing through illusory lenses, illusory filters. You're no longer looking at the wonky mirror that they put in the circus to make you look funny. Now you're looking at a clear mirror. And what do you see when you look through this clear lens? You see emptiness. Emptiness does not mean nothingness. Emptiness means, excuse the police car or ambulance, emptiness means the nature of existence, the way things really exist, is that they are empty of their own isness, right? A cup retains no cupness, a human retains no humanness. They are empty of any fundamentalness, okay? So when you remove the lens and you see everything for the emptiness that it is, now wherever you look, whether it's at something you've imagined, or at an item in front of you, or another human being, your own mind even your own consciousness, you see it as empty of its own quality. Now, when you see that emptiness, or being empty of one's own quality, becomes synonymous with existence, that you realize is what existence is. We think now existence means this is here, I'm here, this is a mala, this is a person, this is a cabinet, this is a statue, this is a picture, this is the air, this is my imagination. But when you see things without that lens, you see that actually this is just something empty of itself. This too is something empty of itself. My mind is empty of itself. Air is empty of airness. And that is the truth. The truth is the way in which it exists, because now you know what existence means. If you know what existence means, everything must exist as that, because it exists, right? You cannot exist without retaining the meaning of existence. So then you know, if there is a God, it would exist empty of godness. You understand the concept of God without even having to meet God, because everywhere you look, all things retain, in order to exist, they must retain the emptiness that is synonymous with existence. Buddha does not know because all of this information has come into his head. He knows because he sees things for what they really are, which is empty of their own quality. And it is in being human, actually, that the Buddha had the ability, as we do, to know things. If someone had the mind of a god, what extra benefit does that really give you? When we think of the difference between human intellect and divine godly intellect, we think of a god as someone who, with his eyes closed, can tell you what's in front of him. You show him a box, he knows what's inside. You see, this is about being able to access all data. That's how we perceive knowing, divine knowing as a god. In Buddhism, what we're saying is, it is not being able to access data without confronting the data that makes it divine knowing. What makes it divine knowing is when you see that data, you're seeing it without the lens, you're seeing it clearly for what it really is, and that is empty of its own quality. Om Mani Padme Hum. Namaste.
Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Om Mani Padme Hum.